At the age of 14, I was diagnosed with astrocytoma, which is a slow-growing brain tumor. 15 minutes I had to go into the surgery room. My life was in danger. That was like the most dramatic moment, and that defined almost the rest of my life. After the surgery, I went back for my checkup and it was growing again, and then we had to go through another surgery. Even though the surgeries, they saved my life, the quality of my life was very low. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I had headaches that felt like doors were slamming from both sides on my head. I couldn't think. When the body suffers for so long, it takes its toll on the soul. And I lost it. I lost my motivation to live. I remember this moment very vividly. I was alone, sitting up on my bed, and in my head I was like, I'm not going through this surgery again. And I've kind of made a deal with myself that it's okay to die young. I wanted to see everything. I wanted to be everywhere. I started traveling in Europe. I went to South America. I went to New Zealand. And I've reached India. I was 21, and I think something just went under my skin when I got there. I knew that there is a connection for me with this place. We went to see the Himalaya. My friends naturally wanted to go and see the mountains, but physically I really couldn't join them. I was in pain, I was very weak. And then suddenly a South African girl showed up in the next door. We had a silly bet in the evening, and I lost the bet and I had to practice yoga for 1 week. And that's how I started. By the third day I realized I felt it in my body, something was changing. And I stayed there for about 6 months, just doing yoga from morning till evening. My mom called and demanded that I go and get an MRI brain scan in Mumbai. They do the scan, I come out, they put me in front of a panel of doctors, and they're all telling me the news of my brain tumor getting worse. And I felt like reality was flickering. I went immediately straight back to who was then my yoga teacher, and his first sentence is, "You have to see him." And I was like, "See who?" "You have to go to the big teacher. You have to go to BKS Iyengar." I took my stuff, got on a bus, went to Pune. First year in Pune, I was mainly guided by Gitaji, Guruji's daughter, who was my first teacher. She was my mother. I can say she was taking care of almost each and every aspect of my being. What is my nourishment and how many hours I sleep, and she cared about each and every detail of my practice. She was creating the earth beneath me for me to walk. He was there, he was around, practicing with us, he's in the library with us, he's in the classes with us. In the beginning, I took a step back, I looked at him with awe, and it takes a lot of courage to come up to this kind of man and talk to him. He had a very strong, dominant presence. You could not ignore him. If he walked in, even if he walked in very quietly and barefoot, you would know. The hall would get quiet. Everybody gets quiet when he walks in. I was in half Uttanasana, which is a forward bend over a chair, and he just came by and just went on my back and went, "What are you working on?" I was like, "Brain tumor." He's like, "We have to change everything." I was like, "Okay." So we had to change everything. And from that moment on, he kept on changing everything. I think he could notice that I have a safe ground to walk on now. And this is when he started to be very demanding. He was fast. His brain was so fast. He wasn't guessing. He could see. He had such profound understanding of the human. He could break the limits. He broke my limits all over the place. He broke limits. He showed you that you're limiting yourself so much, and he taught me how to break it. He taught me how to see when someone is ready for it even when they don't know it. If I can say one thing that made him really, really grand as a teacher for me, is that I noticed that he knew how to use a different language with different students. The main thing that he was very unique with was detailed practice, the alignment, which creates symmetry and better function of the body, and also the art of sequencing. What pose can come after what pose to create a harmonious process. Yoga is therapeutic. He had more and more people coming in with different problems. He found that he needed to keep someone in a certain position, and he realized that he cannot stand there and hold that person. He had to put something underneath it. So he created a structure that will keep that action happening. Taking props from construction sites, just taking bricks and ropes and rods and weights, and he actively made sure that the yoga is accessible to everyone. He knew his own body so well that he knew everybody. That was the greatness of this man. This entire legacy comes out from a single person's practice. It made me so much stronger. Suddenly I could sleep, I could eat. Something changed with my perspective and my feeling of my own body. I started loving it. I could have fun with it. I could do things that were amazing. I could feel prana, the energy of life. I spent 6 years in Pune. At some point, he said, it's time for you to teach. It's time for you to give others. I knew I'm coming to Israel. I knew I was teaching one-on-one, and I knew that I wanted to be somewhere under the dome of a different, larger institute. Within 2 years, I get a phone call, invited to an interview in a hospital to build this department. So the first thing I did is run to Guruji, my safe place, and say, how do I do this? I cannot do this. And he looked at me and he said, of course you can do this, because helping people is serving God.
I was completely in the hands of my caregivers. I couldn't get out of the bed by myself. I couldn't walk. I was told that the complementary medicine, exercises in Rעות, is very good. The first thing the child said to me, she gave me her hands. We are not caregivers and you are not a disabled person when we enter the room. We are teachers and students. Yoga, through Shai, brought me back myself.
Ra'ut in Hebrew means friendship. And this place is that. It does that. It refers to people as human beings, as a complete human being. It doesn't flatten them into their conditions. The yoga approach with the Western medicine, it creates something very complete for the patient, and they kind of help one another. Both of our goals, Ra'ut's hospital and the Iyengar yoga department at the hospital, is to bring the patients to its optimal state.
I am a professor of medicine. At the age of 40, I developed a severe, obscure disease, and I became paralyzed, and I couldn't walk, and I had to use a cane. I had a very long rehabilitation process, and I found that the yoga, Iyengar yoga especially, helped me the most to overcome my disabilities.
להעריך את הבטן קדימה לכיוון החזה, את החזה לכיוון הסנטר, ואת הסנטר תביאו לקיר החיצוני של הבניין. תתארכו מעבר לגבולות הגוף שלכם.
Shai took me to this wonderful journey of the yoga. No question that the yoga changed not only me as a person, but me as a physician. I can treat my patients better. I can treat their disease, I can treat their illness, and I can combine it together.
Rehabilitation is not only a physical process. In order to have successful rehabilitation, you need to encompass also body and soul. The integration of yoga in our basket of treatments is a perfect example of this. We are proud that we are the first in Israel that incorporated yoga in our multifaceted rehabilitation programs. Every
couple of years I go for a checkup. There is a decrease of 30%. but my life doesn't revolve around it anymore. My mom wrote a letter to Guruji, and in the end of the letter she wrote him, I delivered her, but you gave her life. After his passing, I realized that his legacy was larger and bigger and vaster than his own existence. He's with me in every class, he's with me in every practice, he's with me in every thought. I don't think he ever left me.